Good morning. Thank you for being here for your testimony. Years ago, there was a major issue with contraband being smuggled into our facilities through inmate mail, and understanding the need to balance attorney-client privilege information versus just regular mail. How have you addressed that issue to date, and have you made significant progress with respect to that, or are you still seeing certain aspects of that?
We have two tracks that we follow. One is on regular mail, and then one is for legal mail. I'm going to ask EDS Bickle to talk a little bit about what we're doing with the regular mail, because we have made some progress, and clearly the number of incidents there have gone down. EDS Bickle.
Yes, sir. For regular mail, we have contracted out with Smart Communications. And what happens is the mail gets down to Smart Communications. They then send it to DGS. And DGS is now printing out all of our high-quality print mail and pictures that then is sent to the institution and then sent to the inmate. So that really has significantly cut down on our contraband coming in that way. And that is probably one of the best ways when they put the stuff onto the page. And, I mean, the human eye can't really even detect it. Just to put things in perspective, in 2021, DGS printed over 7 million pages of mail and photos, which, in my opinion, has significantly eliminated the risk of those drug-soaked pages entering the facilities. And DGS has a quick turnaround time, which is approximately 24 hours. Most of the delays is probably coming from the Postal Service itself if a mail does come in late. But the turnaround at DGS is approximately 24 hours.
What steps do you take to verify that it is, in fact, mail from an attorney-client source?
So we actually have control numbers that we issue out on attorney-client mail. There's a number for that rotates, and then there's a fixed number for that particular attorney. That mail is then processed through, and so the inmate does receive his or her legal mail directly. We have had some instances there where, whether it's inadvertent or deliberate, where contraband has been introduced, and typically what we found is the pages are soaked in some sort of chemical that our current systems may or may not detect. And we are continuing to work on that issue to see if we can come up with a better solution on legal mail that, on one hand, maintains the integrity of attorney-client privilege, but at the same time limits the possibility of the tainted mail making it into that inmate or into population in general.
So there were instances where mail came in as attorney-client, but it still had the contraband that was soaked in that. What steps did you take then to notify? Was it, I mean, I'm assuming that, and I'm hoping that it was a fake letter coming from a fake attorney's office.
So sometimes the fake letter is pretty straightforward. Again, we've got a number of controls, and if we find out that as a result of the controls that it did not come from the attorney, in any events, we're going to reach out. If it's attributed to an attorney, we're going to reach back out to that attorney. In some instances, individuals may bring mail to an attorney, I'm told, based on investigation, and say, hey, would you take this and send it in to my loved one who you're handling the case for? Those are a bit more problematic. We're reaching back out to the attorneys. We're advising them that perhaps what they sent forward was not what they thought it was. And again, as EDS Bickle has indicated, I mean, maybe the attorney looked at and it looked legit, but they still should not be handing on somebody else's mail. The third instance would be mail that actually was processed in knowingly. I'm only aware of one instance right now where we're dealing with that. And what that individual would actually, they have agreed to do with us is the mail comes in, we make a copy of it right there in front of the inmate. And this is, again, one attorney, one or maybe a small group of clients. We make the copies right there. Inmate then gets to receive the copies that are made right in front of him. I understand there's at least one jurisdiction that has a similar kind of protocol. But that's where we are with it right now.
At any event, do you feel confident in your testimony today that you're in a better place than you were several years ago when that was brought before?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Moving on, we have an absolute duty to ensure the safety of our COs, and I'm sure you all agree with that as you sit there. I'm curious, what steps have you taken since taking over here to put in place to ensure the safety of our COs? And I look through the report and see that assaults may be marginally down based on prior years. What have you done policy-wise to ensure that the safety of our COs is of utmost importance?
Well, again, a couple things that in that measure. One is for those inmates who may pose a known risk, we have created some special units to move those individuals in. So even as on one hand, we've tried to be more judicious in the use of restricted housing generally, and that's a national movement, by the way. That's not something just here in the Commonwealth. But for those individuals, placing them, for instance, in sort of a step-down management unit for those who have been on long-term segregation, rather than moving them directly from, say, long-term segregation settings back to population. So giving them an option, okay, giving that person a choice. Do you want to behave in a way that's appropriate or not? And if so or not, then we've got that place for you. Certainly ensuring staffing levels are adequate to the extent that we can. That gets us back to some of the earlier questions that you may have heard relative to mandates and the like. Right. But try not to burn staff out on those mandates, because if you're tired, even if you're adequately staffed, it may be difficult to perform your job adequately. Continue with training, which has been challenging through COVID for the staff, particularly some of our newer staff. We really had to struggle with that to make sure that they're properly trained up and have the appropriate personal protective equipment. I know within the last few years we've made a broader deployment of chemical agents, but we do, again, try to minimize the usage of it, but if we have to, our officers have those. So those are just a few of the things that immediately come to mind. And again, as we change programs and as needs arise, we do staffing analyses and we do reallocate and commit staff as resources require.
Thank you. And just real briefly, I'd put a plug into Queehana's in my district and the work they do. I've had a chance to go up there several times. It's been a while since I've been up there, but hopefully, just real quick, if you could just talk on the numbers, the success that they see there. I think they do a tremendous job up there.
Great program. I was just up there a couple of weeks ago. Numbers have been down a little bit on the boot camp side, but with the implementation of the short parole and state drug treatment program, those numbers are trending up. Actually, the day that I rolled up there, I wasn't quite sure it was a boot camp, quite honestly. The snow was over there, and I wasn't quite sure where I was until I got out. But had a great visit with the commander there and the staff, and we're looking forward to that gearing up as we go forward.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.